Good morning.
Labo, how are you?
Doing great. Just
Uh,
waiting
let-
for your video to come up.
yes.
How are
By the
you
way,
doing today? Morning. Hi.
this is Elvina, my assistant. I hope you don't mind that she's help.
No, no, no. Actually, one of my team members, Ahil, is jumping on. He wanted to learn more about you. So,
Definitely.
yeah. Ahil, you there? I can't see you yet.
Yes.
Okay. All right, great. All right. Well,
How
good
are you?
morning, everybody. I'm glad we're able to talk this morning. So, Adrian, the last time we talked, you were talking about just what it took to start your team. And do you want to continue on talking about that, or what's on your mind today?
Yeah. So, excuse me. For the last couple of weeks, I've been hiring and hiring and hiring. Now we are a team of 9,
Oh,
and we are about to launch.
that's great.
Thank you. We are about to launch the first route.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't remember how much we spoke about what I do here, but we are a freight brokerage.
Okay.
So I separated a team of copywriters and content. She left.
Oh, I think she'll be back.
Yeah, I lost her.
Sorry about that. Sometimes people call me in the middle of my meeting. Sorry. I don't know how to stop that from happening. Go ahead. Say that last sentence.
No worries, no worries. So Relaymile is a startup. We are just about to launch, and we are a freight brokerage. So we connect the shippers with carriers. Now, I hired a group of content that she's gonna take care of, copywriting, blogs. We're gonna do videos and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I hired some freight brokers that I still don't have a manager there, and I don't know when will that be. And a couple assistants to help me with all this craziness of hiring, because we want to get a little higher.
Yeah.
Now, my biggest question for now is how to separate these teams and to automate them to actually work through.
Okay. What exactly are you wanting to automate?
Let's start with the internship and the content team.
Mm-hmm. And when you say the content theme, you mean just basically regularly posting content on your blog and different things like that?
Definitely.
So you said that you're hiring all of these different people. What are their roles exactly?
We have three or four copywriters. All of them has different backgrounds, so that's why they are 4. They have just writing from books. We have from marketing. We have some designer and so on. The other are 2 assistants. They're gonna join as executive assistants, build contracts that I don't have yet, build the business culture, and take care of some hiring extra. And the rest of them are freight brokers.
Okay, so you want to take on, are you saying that you want to take on more people who are interns though, outside of this?
I want to find the purpose if I should take and how I should manage to not go crazy when I have such a big team and we are just starting.
So just know that, I mean, it doesn't matter what type of industry you're in. When you're in this type of situation, it's always going to be a test, learn, and adapt. You're going to learn some things in the next few months about your system and how it works, and then you're going to have to approve on it. And then the next round, you're going to learn a new set of things, and it will just never end. So it's not going to be perfect. I'm glad that you've just started to just get the ball rolling. So do your assistants know what to do?
For now, yes, as basic. We are going 1 week at a time.
Okay. Do you have a regular meeting that you have?
Yes.
Okay, when is that?
Thursday afternoon.
Okay. Is there a specific reason why Thursday? Is that just the day that works best for everyone?
We just started yesterday with the first one, and I decided to just go with that one for now.
I recommend Monday just because it kind of sets the stage for the rest of the week. And then that's when you address all of your items. So the way that I do it is I have what's called Mission Mondays, and I create a PDF that addresses the items that we typically address on Monday, section by section. So we have the update section, we have training section, we have new prospect section, and we just go piece by piece. And then after we go through that Mission Monday, which sometimes might include training, but most of the time just involves updates from me, getting updates from them, and issuing out tasks and putting new things on their mind, and also mentoring them a little bit. After that, I send that to them so that they can refer back to it throughout the week. And then also I make that recording available for those who either weren't able to be present, or they maybe they were in a certain environment where they couldn't hear well. I just like them to have it just so they can go back and listen to it again at the most optimal time for them. And so with that, they can always refer to that, but they also have their own leads that they report to, who are over whatever project or whatever department they're in. And they have their own meetings and their own trainings. And so we have my executive assistant, who basically is the go-to person. But the only reason why she's the only go-to person right now is because I did not meet my goals for hiring. So we're actually about to bring on 4 new people. And the reason why it's like that is because we've segmented our services, and now those 4 people will be managing 4 different departments. Mm-hmm. And all of those 4 will report to my assistant, so she doesn't have to manage an entire team, because your assistant will even begin to be overwhelmed. Because the more people you bring on is the more people that she'll have to deal with. And then you'll start to see emails not being opened or replied to as quickly as they used to, and just things being a little bit slower. And that's kind of your indication that you need to offload some of her burdens, you know? So, but yeah, those 4 people will report to her, and then she'll report to me. And they'll have their own communications, their own trainings, and their own little powwows that I don't have anything to do with. The reason why we have this system like this is because we have to be more streamlined and more efficient so that we can scale to obtain or achieve the revenue that we want to. And even though there's no shortage of prospects, I refuse to take on more clients than I can comfortably handle. And I'd rather keep things at a pace that we can control than just try to take everybody's money and end up shooting ourselves in the foot. So until those services are streamlined the way that I want them to be, which we're always in a testing phase, we're going to have it slow, and then it's going to take off at the right time. But every person needs to have a specific role. There needs to be specifics just as much as there needs to be deadlines. There needs to be a guideline, a flow, something. I have everything spelled out exactly what they're supposed to do when they first come on. And that's something that you should do, just to give them a sort of a template. When they come on, they get what I call the big email. So the big email contains all of the forms they need to sign, the orientation videos, all the instructions for first day. First day, all they have to do is just get your big email finished. Just go over your big email, sign all of your stuff, send it back, do your orientation video. All you need to do is kind of get acclimated to our system. And, but even when you spell out everything out, that does not mean that things are going to be followed that way. You will find that a lot of people will not be self-starters, not because they're not self-starters, but because they're afraid of doing something you wouldn't want them to do. So you have to overshare what you are allowing them to do. You know, I give you the permission to this. I want you to do that, and have that spelled out for each person, so they're not hesitating, because you'll have tasks that need to be done and you'll put them out there, and then they won't be getting done. And then someone will say something like, oh, so you wanted us to start doing this immediately now? So you have to communicate what you want, exactly what you want. Make sure that you're saying that, and keep things as systemized as possible. Everything about their work experience should be predictable. So control the controllables. You know, you have control over when you have your meetings. They know it's going to be on Monday at 9 a.m., rain or shine. They know they're going to get the follow-up email. They know that they have to go through this person if they want that. They know you're going to reach out after this. Just make everything predictable, because the uncontrollable things are going to throw a wrench in some things. But as long as you control the big things, those little things won't matter. So am I even answering your question right now?
Yes, yes.
I'm on a tangent.
That's definitely
Okay.
good information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my other question is, we are going towards social media. We do want to have a big impact on LinkedIn and on Facebook. And we started with the content. Where do you see that I should get a new department? Where can I go and get more people to actually help us grow?
So you can do the internship. There's also a website called Volunteer Match. Volunteer Match. That is a website you can go to and post what your company is, what you're trying to do, what you need, and it will connect you with people all over the world. That's one way. But you can also go through Handshake. I told you about Handshake, right, with the internship. And also there are international students. Don't feel like you are bound by American interns. You can go to other countries and universities that don't have any limitations on how long your intern can work with you, what type of internship it should be, and all of these rules and guidelines American schools have. And that's an extra added benefit. It's just that you just have to have a system of staying on top of people. Not micromanagement, but we have Time Doctor to monitor activity. And then we also have an SNS sheet. SNS is a schedule and success sheet that we created. It's an Excel sheet that basically is 3 columns. What do I have planned to do today? What actually happened? And what are my next steps for the next day? And you're able to fill in. For instance, Ahil and I were talking yesterday, and he was saying how Time Doctor, and this is a common issue when it comes to those type of time management systems, is that, for instance, if we're on a call right now, it shows no activity, but he's listening, he's working right now, being on this meeting. So it's not taking it into account. So that's why you have your SNS sheet to say what you were doing, because my assistant is checking. So she will check and she'll see when a Hill wasn't working according to Time Doctor. Go look at his SNS for that day and see why there was no activity there, if he has an explanation for that. The hardest thing about the SNS sheet is actually getting people to fill it out religiously. And they don't understand why that's important until their integrity comes into question. I have had clients lie on my team members. And without that Time Doctor and that SNS sheet to back up what they said they were doing, the client who's paying, their opinion or their word could win over the intern's word or the team member's word, right? And a lot of companies will look at it that way. So I'm teaching them to create a paper trail, because whether they stay on with me or not, once they go into the world, they're going to realize there's going to be a lot of people wanting to throw them under the bus anytime they have to. So it's good that they have that habit of making sure that they document everything in emails, you know, because it does happen. So that's one way that you can keep them, you know, kind of organized. We also have organized, segmented communications. So before we were on Slack. Did I tell you about that? I said we were on Slack. Okay. And so now we moved to Facebook. So we have a hidden group that's undiscoverable on Facebook. And I made all of my team members create a new Facebook with their first name, their last name as their middle initial, and their last name as their middle initial, but they used LeBeau as their last name. So a Hill, you know, he's a Hill initial LeBeau, right, on Facebook. And when they change their last name, that's how I know that they are supposed to be in that group. No one else is allowed to be in that group but them. Mm-hmm. And that's when we discuss all the client issues. Every client has a thread. So they want updates on that, they can go and find that thread. But we also segment in Messenger. So every client also has a Messenger group for just that team to talk about that. So unless you're on that team, you can't see what's going on there. And so that's how we're kind of keeping control of that communication. It may change, but it's free and it works. So that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
That's great, and that's a good idea. We don't still have a group of where to manage all of us. For now, it's just email.
Yeah, get something. You can start with Slack, but I wouldn't, only if you're ready to start paying per user every month, that's fine. But if you're going to keep adding people on, you know, that's going to be at more of a cost. So just keep that in mind, because once Slack is free, but once you get to 10,000 messages, which it happens faster than you think with a bunch of people texting all day, you are going to want to find another solution. And if you have everything that you've ever done on Slack, it's kind of like, do we have to stay with Slack because all of our stuff is here? But I just cut my losses and moved everyone to Facebook because I didn't have to pay for it. And I knew that our team is just going to get bigger and bigger. So I didn't want to choose another communication management system that I'm going to have to upgrade again and again and again because of the amounts of users.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good conversation that we have to have. Now, my other question was, what type of interns I can go and search? Because the whole point of the interns is also to have their gain a value. So
yeah,
where do you see that I can hire in what departments?
You know, you need more people than you realize, because even if you hired on 20 interns, only 10 of them are actually going to be active. And of that 10, only 5 of them you're going to see regularly. So the types of interns that you'll want are going to be support staff. You don't want to have a bunch of interns that only work when you have clients. But when it comes to all of the business stuff, it's just you, because that's just the way it is right now. You know, everything's falling on you. And if you bring interns on who are all content people, all you'll be doing is just adding content people you have to communicate with constantly on top of everything you're already doing. So you need to think more like a corporate business, right? All of those roles of the CIO, the CFO, the CHRO, the COO, CTO, they're all there for a specific reason, to solve a specific problem that needs to be solved, problems that you don't know that you're going to have to face because you're going to grow faster than you think. Now you're going to have problems, and guess what? There's nobody there to solve them except you. Now that's time you have to invest in learning how to fix that, because there's nobody there. So if you hire on people who their role is specifically and only to work on that area for support staff, that's great. Now, I have a different philosophy when it comes to my actual consultants. My consultants, I want to have a lot of different expertise. I want them to kind of be like me, be able to wear multiple hats. They can do social media, but they can also do web design. They can also do this and that, you know, and that's valuable. It also keeps them busy with work because they're able to be used on multiple things. So that's great. But you do need those people who are only focused on that one thing, because honestly, just like I said, out of 20, you'll have 10 that are active. Out of 10 tasks you give your CTO, only half of it's going to get done. Do you get what I mean? Because
Definitely.
yeah, it really is like that. So you need to have your people in place, but also know what you need them to do. Because if you bring on a whole bunch of people and they don't know what to do, that's going to be what is dominating your text messages. What do you need me to do now? What do you need me to do today? I don't have any work to do. So the way that I solve that problem is I have Trello boards, okay? So I have a Trello board for each team member of things that they need to do based on what I know they can do. Now, if they know some other things or they've learned things that are not on their resume, maybe they took some extra courses and maybe their resume is like 6 months old, that's great. That's a nice icing on the cake. But based on what I know you can do, I'm going to have you do this. That's your first set of things that you can do. Now I'm going to also have a list of things we need to do for the company. So I have a PR board. I have a web design board. I have a copy board. I have all these different boards of tasks that are topical things we need to be, you know, a SEO board, things like that. And so if they ever run out of anything to do on their personal board, they can go and scroll our other boards and see, okay, well, I can do SEO, I can help on this, I can help on that. But a lot of times they won't have a need to find extra work to do because they're working on their projects. So they're working on client accounts. Those Trello boards are more of their fallback work. So for instance, when I brought my assistant on, we had a list of priorities, things that, you know, top of the mind, there's deadlines on it. But then I also created a list of backlog stuff, things that I've been meaning to do, that I didn't have time to do. So at any point that she runs out of work, which is almost never now, she can always go back to that list and work on something that's relevant to the business. It's not going to be busy work. It's actually something we need so that no matter what she's doing, her time is not being wasted, right? But once you start to learn your team and their expertise, those stars are going to rise. You're going to see who your star players are, and that's your VIP. And what you want to do is offload them of things that are menial, right? Like my assistant, she's a star player. She's always surprising me with things that she knows that I didn't think she knew. You know, she's multi-talented. So what I've done is I've decided to offload her of anything that is not worth her time. That I want to give those little tasks to people who need work to do, they don't have a lot of work to do, or to people who aren't as experienced as her, because I can see that she's at a level that she could be helping me create more important things, more important strategies, more important technologies. And I want her to focus on that. I don't want her to be making graphics. I don't want her to be sending out reminders. That's a waste of her time. It's not the best use of her. So that's something that you should keep your eye on too. Be mindful of that, that people will start showing you their value. And then you'll be surprised that the people that you thought would be up here are really down here. Because some people are really good talkers, right? As far as what their ability is, but time reveals, and it will reveal who really can back up what they say. And for instance, Ahil surprised me. When he came on, I thought he was just going to be a finance guy. That's it. Ahil has shows that he is an excellent consultant. His expertise is way beyond just finance because he's also a business owner. Yeah, I didn't know that about him when I hired him on. So that's of added value to me. Whereas some people, they're way more educated and they have much more experience. But can I rely on that person to get something done? No, because guess what? At the end of the day, it really comes down to their work ethic, right? Their work ethic and time management. If I have a genius on my team that is horrible at time management, they're of no use to me. So when you do create your list of all the things that you need done, do not think, okay, this is going to be my guy. He's going to help me. He's going to do this and that. And then your feelings get hurt because guess what? That guy, he's all over the place. He's going to leave you hanging. Let them put it out there and let those people that are watching, those interns and those team members, let them kind of show you who they are. And then you'll see, okay, I can give this to this one and I can give that to that one. I mean, there are people on my team that sometimes I wonder if they've just come there to, they just come there just for us to help them personally, but to do as little as possible, right? Mm-hmm. And so there will be people like that on your team. There are people that are on your team that after a while, you're going to wonder if you should let them go, because you have to realize you're exposing all of your assets, all of your techniques, all of your prospects to people on your team, and if they're not doing anything, you need to wonder why they're really there. Right?
Yeah.
What are they there for? Be protective of yourself. You might have to like cut them off just to be sure that they're not trying to replicate your business.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. That's another reason why you should record meetings, because whenever I introduce something new to my team, I make the claim right then and there. This is my idea, and you guys know you're under an NDA, and this idea that I'm about to present to you is from me. You know.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it is. That's the way it is. Sometimes you have to be like that. I am not that type of person. I'm not the paranoid business owner, like, oh, I can't tell you my idea because you're going to steal it. Guess what? I can tell you my whole layout of my business and you will still not be able to do it like me, because you can't replicate my drive. So you can try to take things that I do, but you can't replicate my drive. So I don't have a problem with that. But I do that just so that I can have documentation purposes, you know.
Definitely. That's a very good idea. I have the NDAs for the team and so on, but I'm on the same page. I don't really focus on they not stealing the idea. I had a business right before this one, and by talking with people and trying to hire, I received 2 copies, 2 competitors within the US. And after 2 years that they started the business, I realized that they are not even able to go halfway where I've been because they are not me.
That's right. Yeah, that is absolutely right. You know, nothing has happened to me so far in that regard that I know of, but I have talked to people who have had that happen to them. So, you know, unfortunately, that's just a reality.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Labo, I'm not going to keep more of your time. Do you have any questions today?
No.
Okay. For now, I appreciate it. I will go back and implement those things. I know that I hired a lot of people, and I know the next step is to actually systemize and put everything in structure.
It's going to be a pain, but when you do it, it's done. You have your system, and then, you know, once you start bringing on more people, you know exactly what they're going to do. It's just something that you lay that foundation, and then it's over. You can tweak it just a little bit every maybe 6 months or so, and just reword things a little bit as you grow. But it's a necessary evil.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was good talking to you. Hill, did you want to say anything before we got off?
I didn't really have any questions. I just had one. I didn't catch where you guys are based out of. I know you guys were like a freight brokerage and all that, but where you guys based out of?
In San Francisco.
Okay.
All right, great, Adrian. Well, thank you guys, and I will send you the recording for this later on today.
I appreciate your time, Labo.
Yeah, just keep me updated. I want to see where you guys go.
Definitely.
All
Step by
right.
step. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.